So in part two, we're going to actually get started writing some code here. I'm going to have a look at our organizations. So organizations is this feature that allows one account to have a number of other accounts beneath it. So the point of this is AWS, for security reasons, recommends that you split as much as you can into separate AWS accounts. That way, you're really kind of isolating resources from other resources. You don't have, by mistake, giving access. You're not going to be by access. By accident. By accident, you're not going to be giving access to one app from another app that has nothing to do with that app. So different clients get their own AWS account, and even sometimes different environments get their own accounts. So we may have one client that has a production, a live, if you will, environment and a test environment, and even those sometimes get different accounts. So we do this so frequently that we wrote a script that will allow the automation of account creation. So I'm just going to go in here and it is organization, and I believe it is, I'm just going to look up how to run this. Actually, we should be able to do okay, so this is telling us how to run this little script that we wrote, and we're going to call this, we'll stick with bump to consent. We'll call it consent scan. Yeah, that'll work. And then we have to give it a region, although it'll default to US1, which is fine. Source profile is default, that's fine. Email address is consentscan@gunnertech.com. Username is Cody, and that should do it. Okay, so that didn't work. So let me figure out why that didn't work. Okay, so that took me longer than I thought. For any of those who are wondering what the error was, and you're familiar with the AWS SDK, add user to group does not return immediately. It returns a request ID, and there's no endpoint to check on the status of that request. So I just put in a delay 10 seconds. So that way we know that add user to group will finish before we try to use the role that is creating. So let me clean up this a little bit here. And then we'll move back on to where, there we go, I just want to get rid of that. Okay, so now let's run this again, and I gotta think of different names every time. And center. I'm just gonna call this consent scan to consent. We already used that, so we'll call scan and consent. This is where we're waiting to fix that bug right here. There we go. And it's all done there. And we should be good. All right, so then if we go back to our organizations, we can look in here and we'll see we're going to, let's, where's the, oh, organize accounts. So kind of looking here at our test one, I'm going to clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to select all and then find that last one that we created. I'm not going to move that one. I'm not going to move that test account. There's the one we just created, and that's another one that we're working on. The rest of these I'm just going to move to trash, just so we can keep this clean. And now we have a new account created in the what we're using to test one, a test gunner technology account. So the next step is to, and I had this, okay, the next step is, now that we have an account set up, we're going to set up Mobile Hub within that account. And so kind of here's the prerequisites. We use yarn, so instead of npm, it's going to be yarn global add, yarn global add, yarn global add. Then that's all the same. And so then kind of we go in here and going to terminal, and we'll go to, and let me see. Okay, so we'll do make dir scan and consent. I think we can just actually, we should be able to remove, and then we should be able to do AWS Mobile start, AWS Mobile. So we're creating this in the scan and consent folder, so we don't need to actually call it. We can call it again, scan and consent, that would be fine. Scan and consent. So it's going to ask us to configure the account, which this is actually a misstep in AWS Mobile Hub. You shouldn't actually have to give it see, if you say yes, it's going to ask you for access key and access secret. So I'm going to have to pause this to put this in, so you can't see my secret and key. But this is actually a misstep. They require you to put it in, but it should be using profiles and assuming roles. So you don't have to use your key in ID, but it's kind of a bug. So I'm going to pause this real quick and put this part in. Okay, so did that. Now I just put in the access key and secret and gave it the region and passed in the name. And then you kind of just sit here and wait for it to create the mobile backend. And so it's see, this is what I meant. It's kind of messed up. It opened up my it opened up Mobile Hub, but it opened it up for the root account, which is incorrect. It should be opening up for the new account we created, and I'll show you how to get there in just a second, but I want to show you the command line. So it's all set up. It's all ready to go. We don't actually need to look into console right now. And so now we can actually cd into consent. Where did we put a cd scan and consent, and we should actually be able to run yarn install. And then yarn, let me close my, I have it open so it's gonna complain. Close that. And then I should then run, yarn run iOS. Which is gonna build the project for the first time, even though there's nothing in there. And it's gonna open the iOS simulator. So bring this in here, fit it the best I can. This does take a while because it's the first time it's building. It doesn't take this long every time it runs. It will get there eventually. Almost there. Oh, yes. So we need the AWS export. So it's saying it can't find the AWS exports file. So what we need to do there, we actually do need to log into our new account. So I'm going to go back to AWS organizations and I'm going to figure out the account ID for the new account, which is right here. So then I'm going to go into sign in. And I think this account access role will be called scan and consent. Okay, and we'll change this to Cody scan. Make sure that role was correct. This role. Oh wait, I think I had this wrong. ID. Oh yeah, I had the ID wrong. Sign in. Okay, maybe I have the role wrong too. Um, okay. I did have it wrong. It is scan and consent account access, organization account access. Okay. Now I really don't know what I'm doing wrong here. This should be the ID of the account. Well, let me pause this and see what I'm doing wrong so I don't waste your time. Okay, so that was really dumb. I was using this scan with a capital S and it was lowercase s. So really dumb. So anyway, back to my point. We need to go into Mobile Hub and we need to get hold on one second again. Okay, so once again, I forgot a step. Init. We're just going to use scan and consent. Okay, so we did that, so let's try running that again. Okay, so now we have it now. Hopefully we can run this yarn run iOS. See here, it's kind of building project. So now, once that's done, we should have, yep, there we go. The starter project is all up and running then. So this is their starter project. That we'll be working on and has kind of sign up built in all into it, so you can sign in. We'll be gutting this because we don't want to use all this stuff, but this is kind of their starter kit to get you going. So I'm going to stop it there now that we have something up and running. It is functional. You can sign up, although again we're not going to be having any of this stuff because because you need to have all those characters in there. Well, of course it makes me look like an idiot right now. It should work. I don't know why it's not. Anyway, it doesn't really matter because we're not going to use it. But so that's their starter code, and we're not going to be having usernames and passwords and all that stuff because it's going to be completely anonymous anyway. So that's kind of where I'll stop it, and then next time we'll work on gutting this and kind of starting from scratch, not from scratch, but starting with a iOS app to a blank iOS app to build out our scan and consent.